friends. Thank you to Open Space for hosting us this month and Hand in Hand Productions for the multi-room stream. Has anyone checked out the food? Thank you to the Rio Room, private event space located in downtown Bend, Oregon. The food is so good, and we're so excited to have them with us tonight. And of course, thanks to Sips Cocktail and Service for our drinks. Welcome to March Pub Talk. I'm Shannon Kelly, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be here with you tonight. The First of all, let me say thank you to OSU Cascades. They are our MC sponsor, and it is a really, really huge pleasure to be able to speak about them on this stage. The Oregon State Legislature has approved $42 million in funding for the OSU Cascades Health and Recreation Center, strengthening student retention and helping build Central Oregon's future workforce. To learn more, you can go to osukascades.edu. Very exciting news. Also, thank you to our PubTalk title sponsors for making PubTalk a reality every month, and we'd love to welcome them up on stage one at a time. So first up, Emma James from Exemplar Wealth Advisors. Emma, come on up.
Hello, everybody. My name is Emma James. I'm a financial advisor and partner at Exemplar Wealth Advisors. And I just want to get one thing clear. If you weren't here last Pub Talk, John Stark challenged me to a somersault duel. And it's not happening tonight, but it's not because of me. I am still in this competition, so he'll fill you in on more on that. But in other news, we have hit a few big milestones this year. We recently rebranded from Roselle Wealth Management after 25 years with that name to Exemplar Wealth Advisors. And in the fall, I joined my partner, David Roselle, as a partner myself in the firm. So we're celebrating, and we want you all to join us. Thank you. We are having a ribbon cutting in partnership with the Chamber next week on Thursday, and it's a really good time just for a casual meet and greet. And if you want to check us out, come say hi or just celebrate with us. There is a QR code over here that will take you to my email if you'd like to RSVP, or you could just show up. We would love to see you. And for those of you who are curious about what we do, I'd just like to say it in one sentence. We're wealth advisors for folks who are receiving transformational wealth. And what I mean by that is usually our clients are preparing for a large amount of money that's coming into their life, typically through a business sale, but it could be through a court settlement or an inheritance. And they want to know how to be good stewards of that wealth. How do they responsibly navigate that wealth to positively impact their lives, and then also the lives of the community around them as well. So again, come celebrate with us. We'd love to see you. That's it.
Thanks, Emma. And thank you for putting words to my new moon intention. I am also preparing for transformational wealth, so let it be known. Next up, Trevor Campbell, Kernet Stokes. Trevor, come on up.
Thanks. I'm Trevor Campbell with Kernet Stokes. We are CPAs and business consultants. And in case you're wondering, yes, we are busy. But I'm here on purpose, and so are some of my colleagues, because we want to make a point that we're not too busy for you. And if you have CPA that you always feel like is too busy, I would argue they don't understand what their purpose is for you. We work with businesses. We know that this is the time of year they need us. We know that we're busy, and we know that they're always busy. And so we try to make it a point that we get out and we still see people during this time of year so that you never feel like we aren't there for you. To that end, I want to say, I've got a gift card to give away. So this is going to go to whoever can guess the closest how long our firm has been in business. We got a 50, 70, 82, 79, 81. You're not in business for 81 years if you're not doing something right. So if you guys are looking, if you need advice, if you want to talk to somebody about your business taxes or anything like that, reach out to one of us. We'd be happy to chat with you. Thanks.
Thanks, Trevor. Well done. I've never seen anything quite like that before. Thanks, Kurt. Okay, next up, Julianne Horner from Providence Health Plan. Come on up, Julianne, and you got to come all the way up on the stage this month. Can you believe it? Do not trip. Yeah, definitely not. There you go.
Hi, everyone. Everybody knows I talk every month about preventative care or how to seek services. But tonight I want to talk about your health insurance because that's what I do every day. And I'm bilingual because, as you know, healthcare is a foreign language, and so is insurance, especially when you get those explanation of benefits in the mail and you go, what the heck does that actually mean? So what I want to tell you is insurance is complicated. Insurance is difficult. There are times when you want to throw that EOB out the window. I am going to task all of you to become bilingual. Please be the best stewards you can. You're spending a lot of money, or your employer is spending a lot of money on providing that ability to seek services. So if I can leave you with anything, if I never make it up on this stage again, please become bilingual. Learn how to speak insurance and do it well so that you can advocate on behalf of yourself and your family. And with that high note, Providence Health Plan is always excited to be up here and supporting this community. And we will continue to support it for as long as we can. So thank you.
Thank you, Julianne. It's a fantastic advice. We appreciate you. Okay, next up, Jordan Smith, CMIT Solutions. Jordan, where are you?
Hey, thanks. My name is Jordan Smith with CMIT Solutions. We are the region's IT service and cybersecurity provider. Thank you, everybody, for surviving cybersecurity insurance renewal season. If anyone had a questionnaire come out in the last couple of months, you know that you got to check all your MFA and your MDR and your AV. We help our clients satisfy and provide all that stuff. So if you have any needs for that, certainly look me up. I did notice that Emma didn't mention winning the lottery as one of the many ways you could encounter some life transformational wealth. Yeah, so go buy your lottery tickets, 7-Eleven down the street. And with that, I'll let you guys go. Have a good night. Thank you.
Great advice, Jordan. And I just want to say, if I win the lottery, we all win, and you can quote me on that. Okay, next up, Kurt Barker, Best and Krieger. Come on up, Kurt.
I would take Jordan's advice on anything except financial, apparently. I'm Kurt, your local friendly employment attorney with BBK, our full-service business firm, also trust and estates litigation, you know all that. I'm going to go off script tonight. We're going to talk about leadership and service just briefly, and then I'm going to ask you to help me give some money to a nonprofit. Okay, this is unusual for me. I got a quote. Favorite quote on leadership comes from James March. He once said that leadership is poetry and plumbing, providing visions that inspire and systems that deliver. I like it. I think that on a more personal note, if we could go to the poll, I couldn't be more proud of the amount of our lawyers and their involvement in the community. The QR code would be great if you can. These are nonprofits in Central Oregon that our lawyers, mostly were on the boards of these organizations, volunteering our time. Couldn't be more proud of that. Our associate attorneys, partners alike, they're either volunteering or serving on these boards. I'd like to give $250 to one of the nonprofits. We did this about a year ago. I think the Library Foundation won. I'm not trying to rig this against them. You can vote for them. But if you could please, can everyone show me their phones? I would really appreciate your help. Thank you, Emma. I asked Emma to vote. Could you please hit that QR code? Because you can vote on who gets the $250 while John is on stage tonight. I'll come back up when he's done. We'll find out who gets the giveaway. And the live poll will be up on display here soon. And thanks for putting up with me. Have a great night.
Thank you, Kurt. Okay, whip out your phones. QR code, come back at the millennium. Is it not the case? We're just so grateful for all of our sponsors. Thank you all so much. And so while you're voting, I'm going to bring up our director, John. Where are you, John Stark? Come on up. No somersault. It has been postponed.
Postpone. Okay, let's start with the age-old, what up, PubTalk Nation? All right, the reason we postponed it is because we wanted to pay some recognition. Important stuff. So there's two people in this audience right now that this is their last PubTalk as a paid employee of EDCO. And so, and collectively, these two individuals have more than 17 years experience to EDCO. So it's something that's bittersweet for me and for EDCO. And so first, I want to recognize Don Mill, who's in the back of the audience, as a Bend area director for the last, when he leaves, 6 years. And his work is remarkable. He carried our work through the pandemic. There were some really tough times and some late nights providing solutions to companies. He's helped a number of companies scale, build buildings, provide incentives, and help lead economic development in Bend for his time here. And so he's retiring, and so he'll still be around. So this may not be his last PubTalk, but it is his last PubTalk as a paid employee of EDCO. Second is Brian Vieira. So Brian's been very active in putting together everything you've seen on stage here for 9+ years. And that's not in a row, because he went and did a startup. Shocker, our venture catalyst might want to go get in the startup industry. So he was with us 7 years, back for about 9.5 years together. And together, these two men and their dedication to both EDCO and this community has really helped shape our economy over these last 5 to 7 and 10 years. And they're a really important part of EDCO. And so I just want to recognize Brian's going to be gone for a year. He's going to do a special project with his wife. I'll let him tell that story. But I want a collective round of applause for what these two individuals have done in Bend. Don and Brian are in the audience. Brian's probably hiding under a table because I brought his name up on stage, but Don's back there. Please congratulate these two for moving on to something new in their lives. And with that, we've hired a new venture catalyst. And she's sitting right there in the second row, Wendy Morgan. So introduce yourself to Wendy, get to know her. Some of you in the startup and the founder side of things may recognize her because she's been a 2-time founder. And most recently, she's been over at Oregon State University in Corvallis as a mentor within the startup accelerator over there. So she's been doing this work for a long time. She's used to carrying a portfolio, much like what ours looks like. We're super excited to have her bring some new tools to the table, bring ideas and energy. That's all I have for you. I think that was worth postponing the somersault contest. But let me tell you, Emma and I have been talking about this. We were on the phone Monday night. We were talking out there. So it's just a postponement, and we'll be ready for April 23rd, next PubTalk. Thanks.
April 23rd. Mark your calendars. Thank you, John Stark. Okay, I'm going to bring Kurt Barker back up. You're going to announce the winner.
Guys, thank you so much. I'm on the board of Saving Grace. I believe in a life without violence. I love you. We're going to split the donation. Let's shut it down. Bend Food Project is amazing. Saving Grace is amazing. We'll split the donation with them. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kurt. That is just so cool. And I want to say, I'm just going to bounce back a little bit. Let's give a hand to all of our title sponsors: Best and Krieger, CMIT Solutions, Exemplar Wealth Management, Kernut Stokes, and Providence Health Plan. These partners make PubTalk a reality. So grateful for all of you. Thank you for being here. And gosh, Dawn and Brian will certainly be missed, but Wendy, we are so excited about having you here. So welcome to the EDCO team. Okay, so yeah. Yes, Lisa, thank you for the applause. I'm with you on that. Okay, we would love to extend a thank you to all of our EDCO members. EDCO membership underwrites a variety of support and resources, including events just like this one, and the efforts that we take to build a prosperous and sustainable economy. And if you're not a member, we want to invite you to become one tonight. We are pleased to announce our newest EDCO members, Big Eddie Property Management. I believe my friends from Big Eddie are here. Hello, welcome. Central Oregon Locavore, Fior Global, Northwest Sign Recycling. Thank you all for joining us. We're really happy to have you in our network. And if you want to hear your business called out at a future PubTalk, you want to learn more about EDCO membership, visit Larry Holman or any of the EDCO team here tonight. We are absolutely thrilled that you're here. We have a very exciting evening of innovation and insight, and we kindly ask that you remain in the room for our entire program in respect to our speakers. If you do think you're going to need to leave, we just ask that you remain in the lobby or in the green room and enjoy the program from there. We are so excited for Ansel, Metolius, and our keynote, Scott Breon. And if you don't mind, again, like I said, if you think you're going to have to leave, now would be a good time, and that way we can present the best possible reception for all of our speakers. So next up, we are excited to welcome to the stage a company update from Metolius Tea. Joining us on stage is Amy Seidenverg, the founder and lead of Metolius Tea. Her background is in academics and activism, and she holds a master's degree in women's history from Sarah Lawrence College, as well as degrees in poetry. She entered the tea industry after wild crafting medicinal plants and noticing that high-quality coffee shops lacked value-driven tea programs. Her work has focused on building ethical sourcing relationships, including long-term collaboration with farming partners in Nepal. Metolius is beloved throughout Central Oregon and beyond. Please help me welcome Amy to the stage.
Shannon used to teach me yoga. I was living in a treehouse, and you came to my treehouse and taught me my own personal morning yoga routine.
That's right. That was almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Look at us now.
Look at us.
It's a good thing we did all that yoga, because it's been a
Good
pretty
thing.
long 20 years, I'll say. Well,
I don't
have
live
fun.
in a treehouse anymore. Hi, I'm Amy. I'm the founder of Metolius Tea. I had the privilege of introducing Metolius Tea to you back in 2019. That was the year we launched Metolius Chai, and our brand gained national traction in the coffee shop industry. That was before I had my own tea garden in Nepal. It was before COVID hit, shutting down coffee shops across the country, leading me to lay off all my employees and work in the tea factory alone and 6 months pregnant. It was before I had a very sleep-challenged baby, and I juggled 90% turnover during the Great Resignation of 2022. I could not have imagined the challenges ahead, but with each impasse, I had the opportunity to restructure my company, build stronger boundaries and systems, find greater conviction in my instincts, and hone my voice as a leader. The business's coming of age has very much been my own. So I want to share with you a little bit about where we were in 2019 and where we are now. In 2019, we'd earned just over $500,000 in revenue. We'd invested $135,000 in our payroll and infused just $160,000 into ethical supply chains for sourcing tea and spices internationally. Last year, we earned just over $2.3 million in revenue, invested over $800,000 in our team, and infused over $700,000 into global ethical supply chains. I use the words invested in payroll and infused in supply chains rather than spent, because I realized along the way that I don't think of payroll as a liability and COGS as an expense on the way to the goal of generating net profit. For the record, I absolutely do believe in building a business around strong metrics and healthy cash flow. But investing in our team and our ethical supply chain is our net gain, our ultimate goal. Beautiful tea is simply the method. I've been privileged to have many mentors over the years, including from Business Oregon and EDCO. Business mentors love to ask, what's your revenue goal? I never understood why this question mattered so much until one mentor, who's in this room tonight, Cindy Hayes, asked me the same question in a very different way. When I displayed my typical blank stare in response to her revenue question, she reframed, well, what do you want? That question is easy. I told her I want to pay thriving wages to my team in Bend. I want to make measurable social, economic, and environmental impacts through our tea sourcing. And she responded, you can do the math on that. I calculated 6-figure pay for my leadership team and $30 an hour starting wages for my production and fulfillment teams. And I found, not there yet, but I did find the first revenue goal that mattered to me, 4.4 million. So I want to show you where we were in 2019. What's shocking to me looking at these pictures is that we paid a friend to take them, which means we must have really not known how bad of an idea it was to hoist our bodies up on scissor lifts and brew chai in t-shirts, chai that is 190 to 200 degrees. So that was then. Now we have a safety committee, safety glasses, safety rails, a capping machine to prevent tendinitis, 2 bottling machines, and a labeling machine we got from a grant from Business Oregon. The best part about all this growth is that we're actually making meaningful progress toward the goals I identified with Cindy. I reached out to an economist at the Oregon Employment Department to help me identify fair wage goals for each position in the team. I tied compensation to both revenue and profit benchmarks, giving the team a sense of how they'll achieve career growth. I often hear my employees say, I've never worked at a place where I feel so supported, where I feel like I can be my whole self. In the absence of strong systems, many organizations unconsciously adopt a coercive top-down management. Managers internalize large amounts of invisible company knowledge and drive employees beneath them with a because I said so attitude. At Metolius, we have an SOP, standard operating procedure, for every role and task, offsetting the need for constant top-down management and internalized company knowledge. When we discover a problem, we ask how we can change the system, not how we can change the person. So with the exception of some light cash flow challenges, Metolius tea is the healthiest it's ever been. It's also the most diverse it's ever been. I've learned through experience that in a healthy organization, you will find queer people, people of color, working parents, and neurodivergent people working at all levels of leadership. And I don't just mean that diversity is good for the people in the organization. I mean the organization itself is remarkably better when it is built with the resilience, integrity, grit, and passion of human beings who share a common goal, yet with an uncommon experience. Beyond the tea factory, our goal is to partner with farmers making measurable social, environmental, and economic impacts in their regions. We partner with a direct trade vanilla bean company in Madagascar, sugar growers in Brazil working on rainforest restoration, and a cardamom cooperative in Guatemala. In the last 3 years, we've developed a close relationship with Nepal. I've had the privilege to collaborate with them to design our own black and gold tea, sponsor education for children in need, protect the biodiverse organic tea mountains, and help eliminate poverty in the tea-growing regions of Elam. Our relationship with Nepal has had a significant impact on the quality of life for hundreds of families. It's also had a profound impact on me, giving me the courage and permission to run my business from my heart. In Nepal, a person's social worth comes not from what they have, but from what they give. So tonight, I'd like to leave you with 2 questions. First, what's your net worth in terms of the value you give to your community, your family, and those less fortunate than yourself? And second, what do you want? Because you know you can do the math on that.
And do some Q&A so you can keep that. I don't often tear up at PubTalk,
Aw.
Amy, but here we are.
I didn't know I was going to hear the echo of my
Oh,
voice. So.
you just did beautifully. That was an incredible company update. I mean,
Thanks.
really, and I want to say I'm so proud of you. I have watched this whole journey, and it has
You
been
have.
remarkable. Yes. Oh, yes. And also, I want to tell you that I ran into one of your employees a couple of weeks ago, and she said, I have never been happier. This is the best job I've ever had. And she specifically spoke to you and the culture that you all have created. And I had to share that with you because that's everything.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's the dream.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. So you are making a difference. So tell me about how do you identify partners in Nepal or in Brazil? I mean, these are huge, huge countries. So tell us about that a bit.
Yeah, it's really hard to Google ethical global spice and tea supplier and have the right things come up. Yeah. But Nepal, they emailed me. They found me.
That's amazing.
And I started with buying 2 kilograms of their tea, and it was not good. And I fell in love with their ethics, and I worked with them for 3 years to develop tea that we're really proud of. And we have the ethics along with it.
That's amazing. Oh, that's so cool. Okay, questions for Amy. Anybody have a question? I mean, I have plenty of questions, but if anybody else has questions. Yes, Wendy.
Hi.
Okay, so she says, loves your story. And as for the $4.4 million benchmark that you've identified in your business, how are you going to get there?
Do you see this very cute little blonde in the center of the audience? She is one of our saleswomen. So we have a really wonderful sales program. We have 2.5 salespeople. Allison's one of them. And we are expanding into luxury boutique hotels right now. So we've gotten a sachet machine and we're working on overwraps. And Allison is partnering with hotels that really want to be zero waste. So they're actually interested in sachets without overwraps. So we're moving forward on those first. And
that's
coffee
great.
shops just keep popping up.
Yeah, there's no shortage of coffee shops, that's for sure.
Yeah,
Tell
we
us,
need more.
so an overwrap and a sachet, describe that to these folks.
Oh, a tea bag with the wrap around it. Everything that we do is plastic free and biodegradable, but we try to work with the companies that want the least amount of waste so that they can really spend the money on the tea and not the packaging. But we have been investing in the equipment over the last 2 years so that we can gear up for even the hotels who want the little wrapper.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, and actually a lot of people don't know this, but traditional sort of tea at the grocery store that comes in the bags, they actually have a lot of BPAs in them. And
plastic, ink, glue, staples, all sorts of chemicals.
Yeah, not great for tea drinking.
No.
Have you always been a tea drinker?
I've actually always been a tea drinker and a coffee drinker. I love both.
Yeah, I love them both too.
You can do that.
Both good. Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Tea you can drink like all day and all night. Coffee you have to stop.
Start
at a
with the
certain point, right?
cortado and then go to a green
Cruise
tea
into
and
a
then go to a black
matcha,
tea.
and then
yes, exactly.
Do I have any other questions for Amy? Yes, right here in the front.
Hi, Jen.
That was an amazing talk, and I noticed that you mentioned psychological and emotional safety.
Yes.
Okay, great. I love this question. So, hi, Jen. Thank you. She says she loved your talk, and she mentioned, and she noticed that you put emotional and intellectual, social, psychological safety as one of your lists of like non-negotiables. And she wants to know if you could elaborate on that.
Yes, we have an entire chapter on that in our company handbook. One of the things that I really love saying when new people come on board is that we have a shame-free tea factory. So it is a safe place to make mistakes. We hire a lot of people. One of our friends who works for us was a stay-at-home mom homeschooling her child for 12 years. And she came to Metolius and said, I haven't worked in 12 years. And we're like, are you kidding? You have run a home and raised a child. And she had no idea how skilled she was. And when she came to Metolius, she really blossomed in realizing that she had a lot to contribute, and all of those skills that she had built over the last 12 years were completely transferable. And so, so shame-free tea factory is language we use. Whenever there's a mistake, we call it learning glitter. So we have some language tricks for playfulness. We also make sure that we never use a coercive style of leadership. We do have a hierarchy at Metolius. It's pretty soft hierarchy. There's basically a leadership group, and then there's the crew. And we really make sure that when we say that something needs to happen, we always explain why. And people are generally really stoked to do things together because we're always explaining why and how and the reasons. And yes, we tried it that way, and here's what happened. So instead of that coercive because I said so culture, we really focus on avoiding internalized company knowledge so everything is available to everyone. So yeah, I think shame-free culture, learning glitter, diversity is another really big one. I found that when we have less diverse working community, that we tend to have more enclaves of like judgy people that stick together. And when we are more diverse, we tend to all share an equal voice together. And that really, really supports everyone in the room.
Yes, fascinating. Any other questions for Amy? I mean, yes, Lisa.
Also, first-time crier at PubTalk.
First-time crier at PubTalk. Okay, you're doing it.
How can this community help you reach your...
I love this question. How can this community help you reach your next big goal?
Yes, please buy our tea. And we're 85% wholesale. So if you have a favorite coffee shop that doesn't carry our tea, say, I want Metolius tea.
I have to tell you, if I'm out traveling and I see it somewhere unexpectedly, I'm like so excited. And I know I need to start snapping pictures of that.
I feel so tickled when that happens.
Yeah, it's
like,
amazing.
I see our tea in like Colorado or something.
I know. What's the farthest away that you're sending tea?
Hawaii? New York? What's
Hawaii?
farther?
I mean, they're both pretty far. I'm not good with maps, but I'd say those are... Is this another question right here? Yes.
I love your chai.
Thank you.
He loves the chai. So good.
How did you develop it? I mean, most chai
Yeah.
is just like sweet.
Yeah. This is a great question. So you've got a big chai fan in the audience. He says it's a really authentic flavor. It's perfectly balanced with the sweetness. How am I doing? And he wants to know how you developed it.
So this pink notebook is my chai notebook that I originally used in 2018. I spent the entire year failing until I could get it. And basically what happened for me was the same thing that happened with our Earl Grey tea. When I first started tea making, I couldn't find an Earl Grey that I liked. And so I decided to make one myself, and I made one that I loved. Then years later, I realized that like I love cardamom and ginger and black pepper, but all of the chais in the US market suck. They're watery because most of them are half water and half milk. And a lot of them have cloves, which to me tastes like toothpaste. And they're overly sweet and just not very flavorful. And I don't know who would order a drink with half milk and half water. It just didn't seem appealing to me. And so I never ordered chai out, but I love, like, cardamom is my absolute favorite flavor. So I realized that I needed to make a chai that I would want to drink. I'm a total ginger nut, but I can't really handle spice unless it's paired with sweetness. So basically we just tried, and we ended up basically steeping really expensive spices. I have expensive taste in almost pure ginger juice. And what we've created is the same proportions of an espresso latte. So instead of that 50-50, it's a 1-to-7 ratio, just like an espresso latte would be. So very concentrated and rich and milky, in addition to that ginger spice and cardamom and sweetness.
Love it. And I'm a big ginger fan too. And it is an amazing product. And your matcha is excellent.
Thank you.
It's actually my best friend's favorite matcha ever. So, anyways, I share that with you because I just can't say enough good things about what you've done here. And I'm so happy to hear that it's going well. And I hope all of you will support this company far and wide. Thank you, Amy.
Thank you,
Beautifully
Shannon.
done. Yeah.
Really great. Really great. I give this to you. Yep.
How about another round of applause for Amy? Drink tea and prosper. Excuse me. Okay, so tonight's keynote is brought to you by these amazing partners. Summit Bank is thrilled to sponsor PubTalk. We are your local business bank, Oregon's fastest growing bank, the bank with beer. And now, after 21 years, we are the second largest bank in Oregon. We are Summit Bank, Oregon's business bank. And is your business, career, or organization ready for the next step? The Center for Business at Central Oregon Community College offers no-cost expert business advising, workforce training focused on today's skills, and professional development for individuals and teams. Whether you need business or training support, the Center for Business at COCC is here to help. We are so excited to have our keynote joining us on stage tonight. Scott Breon is a marketplace operator and analytics leader who has helped scale high-growth travel tech and prop tech companies. He has held leadership roles at Vacasa, Chegg, Poplar Homes, and Epicurate, supporting over 150 acquisitions, building teams across analytics, growth, product, and strategy, and developing algorithmic pricing and marketing systems. Today, he co-leads Evergreen Growth Collective, advising early to Series B stage companies on marketplace economics, pricing, and operational execution, turning growth ambition into sustainable results. Please help me welcome Scott Breon to the stage.
You're not going to stand behind me?
Pop out. Menacing. I can if you want me to.
The space is available on the stage. So thank you for having me on this beautiful summer evening. If it's spring break or summer break, our kids are not sure. But I was invited to be up here because I spent 8 years building a company from a small property management company into a company that did $1 billion a year. And I'm going to be talking about some of the messiness behind the scenes. So before we get into that, just a little bit about me. I've spent 20 years in Oregon building startups. I started out in analytics, using data to tell stories and craft strategy and influence. I got into strategy and then also into leadership, building organizations and driving change. I was, that word jumble that I provided, not Shannon, about my background was everything I did at Vacasa with analytics and leadership, building marketing teams, data science teams, product teams, all over, lots of things. But I also am very passionate about prop tech and travel tech, and I've continued to invest in that space. And I'm extremely passionate about marketplaces. Now I'm a fractional executive with Evergreen Growth Collective, my wife Lisa, who happens to be here tonight. And throughout my career, what I've done is leverage data to change stories and influence people, process, and product. And that's what we'll be talking about tonight. So who here has used Vacasa as a customer? Who here has used Vacasa as a homeowner? Who here still works for Vacasa? I know we have some. Who here is a competitor of Vacasa? So for those of you who are not familiar with Vacasa, Vacasa was founded around 2010, and it started out with a problem where the founder had a little not great shack. It was a literally shack in Long Beach, Washington. And he talked to the local property manager in Long Beach, Washington. They said, I can't manage it. It's only going to do $6,000 a year. I'm going to lose money managing it. You got to do it yourself. So Eric's background was in analytics and marketing. And so he did it himself. And he made $24,000. He made 6 times what the professional said it would do. And so he thought, there's something here. And that's what he did. So he built Vacasa by taking keys from homeowners and creating an easy platform for guests to book, and then doing all of the messiness in the middle, cleaning homes, doing the marketing, doing the pricing, doing the maintenance. So right now, it's listed on Vacasa, Airbnb, Vrbo, and Booking.com. But when we started, Airbnb didn't even exist. And our number one booking channel was Craigslist. So I did not start at the beginning, but my brother is the founder. And so I did talk to him quite a bit on family vacations and at the kitchen table. And so I started full-time there at that star. And it looks very clean. This is the approximate valuation of Vacasa while I was there. Up and to the right, very beautiful, what every VC wants to see, up to about $5 billion. This is also what it looks like in the news over the last couple of years. But to be very clear, I left at that star. And there is a PubTalk here, but it's not my PubTalk. I was not there. So we'll be talking about the first part of that curve. But what that curve hides is everything underneath it. The people, the process, and the product was always in tension. Something was always broken. Unfortunately, it did include people. We did not invest as much as we should have, as Metolius did, in their psychology, psychological welfare of the founders and the founding team all the way down. But when I was asked to do this presentation, what I reflected on was that we didn't just build one company. We built 4 companies back to back to back to back. And each one was different. The people were different, the processes were different, and the product was different. The goal throughout each of it was to figure out which one of these things was about to break and fix it before it brought the company to its knees. So the first phase was getting that first dollar. We'll talk a little bit about that. But that phase is about pivoting, survival. 20% of startups don't survive their first year. The next phase is innovation. Figure out what makes you different. And that's what we did. This middle phase is how to standardize. How do you build a machine that can grow and grow without the founder, where the founder can go on vacation? And then in the end, how do you accept that the company is not what you thought it would be when you were back here? So the first stage of every company is to find 5. I can't do 5 with the clicker. I'm going to drop it. But how do you get 5 strangers to buy your product? I need to hold the clicker, so I'm going to pick it back up. So it's not just getting your spouse or your friends or your coworkers to buy it. It's finding 5 strangers to pay you. Vacasa's original model is not what I just presented to you. Vacasa's original model was just tech, no physical operations. But what we realized was when something went wrong, when the homeowner that contracted with us didn't clean the home, the guest blamed us, and it all went to crap. So what we realized was our moat was to clean toilets. It was not just the technology, but a lot of people who code and sit behind a computer won't get their hands dirty. And we were willing to do that, and that became our moat. But in the early days of startups, it's not just your product that changes. It's not your position that changes. It's definitely not your bank account that changes. But the people can change too. So the original CTO of Vacasa left after a few months and walked away from owning half the company. And at this point, everybody does everything. You are the marketing leader. You are the analytics leader. You are the CFO. Your title is COO, CEO, CTO. You have to still answer the phones. You don't have money to do anything. And this was true at Vacasa for a very long time. Even when we still had hundreds of employees, we would all drive out to the Oregon coast and clean homes on July 4th because it's physically not possible to hire enough people to do that. And at this stage, the doubt is real. VCs don't call you back. Customers say no. Your employees quit, including founders. The doubt is real, and you have to get through that. You have to get to the other side. The next phase is a very exciting phase, sometimes. For us, it was exciting. That's us winning Portland Business Journal's fastest growing private companies in Oregon. We were Inc. number 9. It was an extremely explosive growth where it looked hunky-dory from the outside. It looked very exciting. We were scaling so quickly, but we did not have processes. Processes were very reactive. And when you take thousands of strangers and put them into thousands of homes, you never know what you're going to have to react to. It could be a 240-pound pig in Idaho. It could be a murder in LA. Or it could be employees getting into car chases in Orlando. You never know what you have to react to. But at this stage, processes were not invested into. They were very much reactive. Because we were growing so quickly, we had a lot of individual contributors that became managers. When you have to take somebody who pushes a button and then get 27 people to push that same button as fast as possible, well, whoever was there first became the manager. That didn't work. Managers and individual contributors are two different jobs. And one of the things that I learned early on was being clear up that up front. If your goal was to be in management, you hired for people who could be managers. If your goal was not to be in management, awesome. Create a career for those people. Differentiate. A lot of people, especially early in career, look as management as the only way to be successful. Our average employee tenure, even up to hundreds of employees, was less than 6 months. So just look at the people next to you and realize those people are the new people. And that created some challenges. Every week, we had to go to IKEA and buy more desks. We were bootstrapped. We didn't have a ton of money in the bank account where we could just invest into our future. It was dollar in, dollar out. During this time, we had 5 different offices in Portland in about 2 years. Every 6 months, it was load up the co-founder's pickup truck, put that ficus plant in the back. Hopefully it still had some leaves. We got to the next part. But one day we forgot to get a desk for a new developer. So he sat on that weird IKEA sofa that didn't actually have a back, and he fell off of it. Said something about this not being a legitimate company, walked out the door, and never returned. This was also a great time to be a vice president at Vacasa, because if you sneezed, you became a vice president. Every salesperson in the room probably has been vice president, because that's the only way you can get people to answer your phone calls. We can't pay you, so we're going to give you the title of vice president. And then you clearly have more experience than the current director, so you're a vice president. So everybody became vice presidents. It's something you have to watch out for, because we did have to roll that back, and that was very painful. And then through this phase, there's this huge metrics trap where everything is so exciting. Your numbers are up and to the right, but what is good hides what is bad. The excitement makes you think everything is perfect, and you have to know what the real drivers and KPIs for your business are, so you don't get don't lose sight of what is really underneath and driving your business. So these glass doors are not real, but they are also not fake. So while as we go through here, there's some others in here. They're not real, but they're also not fake. And Glassdoor was always a very interesting thing to read. So at this phase, you have to question everything, especially what's working. Is this working because it is the best thing, or is it the first thing that worked? When you get to the first thing that worked, you sometimes stop and you don't improve. And you always have to keep building the plane while you're flying it. But with Vacasa, this is an exact phrase that I gave to an employee who asked, "Why do we do this? That's dumb." And I was like, well, we do things differently, often intentionally. And my first conference that I went to, the first industry conference, I was the youngest person there. The next youngest person was Vacasa co-founder, who was 5 years older than me. The next oldest person was another Vacasa employee. That was about 20 years to the average age for our industry. And a gentleman came up to me and said, "What do you do, young buck?" And I said, "I design machine learning pricing algorithms." He goes, "Oh, what's that?" Well, we take all of our properties and we change the prices every day for the next 365 days, and we do that constantly. And he goes, how do you print all those changing prices in your photo books? We don't print photo books. So we do things differently, often intentionally. But we also did a lot of things unintentional. And that came from, at times, an arrogant place that we knew that we were better than the industry at a lot of things. And sometimes we did things that we thought were good and were not, because we were blind to industry perspectives at times. So you have to question everything, even what's working. So at this stage, in this company, you have to build repeatable machines. How do you make yourself replaceable as a founder, as an executive? How can you go on vacation and not let everything fall apart? Things did kind of fall apart during this phase. We were still bootstrapped up to about $100 million. We didn't take funding until much later. But it crushed our product and our team. There was always technical debt. When you have an analyst designing 1,000-line SQL codes, there's probably 3 people in this room who understands what that is, you get some technical debt. Our team lacked some skills, resources, and other things, and it crushed us in a few ways. But most importantly, we stopped innovating. Our innovation flatlined. Our tech team made it their goals to keep things alive. It's called stability, security, and scalability. And to solve that challenge, they just started getting rid of the product that made us valuable to our customers. And that didn't work. And so while I was on paternity leave, we did replace the entire technical executive team. We also missed our first payroll. The money was there. It was in the bank. It was just in the wrong bank account. But we had daily cash forecasting. When you're at the point where you need daily cash forecasting and daily cash maneuvers, it's not a great place to be. So we did hire our first CFO, and we decided to go for a Series A, where we raised about $35 million from VCs, which was a very large funding round at that time. During this time, when you're building a machine, you have to make decision-making delegation. Not everybody can be in the room to make a decision. When you have 5 people, all hands is just going to work. This is everybody. But when you have thousands of employees, hundreds of employees, you have to figure out how to get the decisions you want to happen when you're not there. And we called it flexible. We called it something that's slipped my mind, but so we're going to just keep moving on. But the idea is you have to put the guardrails out there so people know how to stay on the road and keep going in the direction that you want. This is most clear in our business between the sales team and the field team. The sales team was incentivized on growth. Say yes, get that new home, open that new market, right? There's a salesperson from Vacasa in here. But that creates a lot of tension for the people who have to do the physical work, that have to physically clean those homes, the people who have to make sure the marketing is set, take the photos, get the 3D floor plans, do all of that work. And you don't want that new house. So that creates a lot of tension. And so it was building buy boxes. How much can you get into the green where everybody knows that's a yes? And how much can you get into a red that is a no? It is not up for discussion. You want to keep the yellows, the middle in the buy box, as small as possible, those true exceptions. This is an amazing property, a $24,000 a night property in Vail. We'll talk about it. So at this point, you as an executive, as a founder, as a business leader, you have to build a machine and not be the machine. One of the biggest conversations that you have to have around this time is that you go from having a lot of generalists to a lot of specialists. And a lot of those generalists wind up in homes, and you go talk to their bosses, in the boss of their department. You say, oh, how's Jim doing? The former generalist. You plug them into a new department. And they say, he's a good guy. Okay? What you want to hear is that they provide value. What you don't want to hear is their gender or that they're just nice to have around. And that's something that happens where these people who built this company, you still have to find purpose for them. You still have to find a place for them. And so a big part of building this machine is finding the homes for those people where they can provide value. It's important for them. It's important for the business. And that is one of the hardest things for an extremely fast-growing company. So to be very clear, snacks did make it into Glassdoor reviews. It sucked because we had great snacks. So at this point, we were successful. Success, you could say, is going from the founder wife's logo at the top to the $250,000 logo at the bottom. My favorite was the middle from one of my designers in the middle. That was my favorite logo, and I wish it still existed. But what does success look like? Who thinks success looks like money? Changing an industry, brand recognition. Those are all things that everybody thinks is success. Well, we did that. We got 4 million customers a year. State of Oregon, staying in our properties every year. 6,000 employees, mostly around the US, but we also had teams in Prague and Santiago, Chile, and New Zealand, all these fun, exotic locales. And we employed about 1,000 people in Oregon at that time. You might think that's success. We also did 150 M&A transactions. We couldn't just grow with our product and getting more revenue by having better pricing, better marketing. We had to grow and expand into our markets. We did an acquisition in Sun River, one of our first ones. And part of that acquisition was a shared laundry facility. If you're not familiar with a shared laundry facility, it's where you and your competitors do all your literal dirty laundry. Well, we had a contract and a lease on this facility, but we got kicked out because we paid our employees too much. And that was one of the things I was actually proud of, because we were the first property management company, but one of the first companies in Oregon to do a nationwide $15 an hour minimum wage. And that doesn't sound like much today, but remember, this is an anecdote from a long time ago, before it was $15 an hour was trendy. And that was one of the more fun acquisitions we did. But the last one I was a part of was a $160 million acquisition of Wyndham Vacation Homes. We also expanded internationally. When we did so, we could not take euros, but we went to Europe. We could not translate our website to Spanish, but we went to Mexico. I don't recommend doing either of those things, but this is success. What people don't talk about success looks like is that you have to bring in outside executives. When you scale to a point where nobody in your company has ever worked for a company that big, you bring in outside people to bring new ideas, new skills, new plans, new processes, and that can be a huge point of friction. If you are planning to be an outside executive, here's my suggestion. Do not come in and say, why the fuck do you do it this way? That is dumb. Or this is shit. I don't know. Your goal as an outside executive, you are hired because you have something. But what you have to figure out is how to become yours. A plus B equals C. Not replacement, not shitting on everybody who built that pays your salary before you. And then you get founder exits. This is probably one of the hardest things, is when parts of the founding team leave. When you get so big, a lot of the founders don't know how to still work in a big company. It's no longer about changing the world. It's about a job, and that's not as fun. And you have to deal with that. So at this point, you have to accept that evolution isn't optional. You will grieve. It sucks. You'll go and find all of the early people that were there from the beginning. And you'll say, hey, we haven't been out in a while. Let's go to happy hour. And you'll go to happy hour and you say, hey, remember back in the day, we'd go to happy hour, have 2 beers, come up with an idea and ship that new product that night. That doesn't happen anymore. 2 weeks would be fast. You reminisce about the good old times. You reminisce about how the company was. It's no longer the same company. You're dealing with boards, you're dealing with personalities, you're dealing with a lot of things, none of the things that you thought you would when you defined what success looks like. So this is a very clean framework of a lot of messiness. This does not apply to every company, but all of these problems have existed in every company. We used to joke that the best training for new employees was watching HBO's Silicon Valley. Every episode is on point. It might be a documentary. So your goal tonight is to figure out which of these companies you are in, figure out what is breaking. Is it the people, the processes, the product, and what you're going to do about it? I joined Picasso when I was 29, and I didn't have mentors. I had some great bosses throughout my career that I can pull up those anecdotes of where they gave me some stern points that really stuck with me. But I wish I had more mentors early on. And later on, I did have some great mentors, some now that live here in Bend. But this is what I would tell myself. Every stage requires different leaders. It's not just about you, it's about your team. And those are some of the hardest conversations. What is a generalist role becoming a specialist role? What's being an individual contributor to being a manager? These are all different jobs that require different things. And you have to be able to grow with it. And if you can't, you have to accept that. Systems beat heroics. We had an early employee, and we used to joke that he had 27 hours in his day, which was very valuable early on. He fell asleep at his computer at 4 a.m, and he was soaking his hand because putting up a railing to get it to a house to code so we could get the permit, he smashed his thumb and had his hand in some ice water and fell asleep at his laptop, spilled the water on the laptop, fried the laptop. And we didn't have money to replace that laptop. That was heroics at the beginning. But that person didn't make it to the machine. You have to figure out how to build the processes that can survive without you. And if you need 27 hours in a day, and you're scaling 100x, there's not 2,700 hours in a day. And that's a very hard thing to learn. The complexity compounds faster than revenue. So when you're starting out, you don't hire a legal team. You don't hire a sales team. It's just you and a co-founder if you're lucky. But as you scale, everything gets more complex. And it's not just internally. There's external stuff. There's your competitors looking at your stack of technology and stealing it all. There's legal, there's regulatory compliance. Everything scales faster than what you think it will. Your job changes every 18 months. My first manager told me to rewrite my resume every 6 months. She said, if you put something on there that's really cool, we should talk about that. But if you try to write your resume and you struggle after 6 months to put something fun on there, we also need to talk about that. And so your job will really change every 18 months. This one is super important. Do we have any designers in here? Any designers? So this was a phrase I would use when I was managing my marketing team. There's no design emergency. There's no, if there's an emergency where you really need a design, that's your fault. There's no such thing as a design emergency. And if you tolerate design emergencies, that's on you, and your team's gonna hate you for it. Revenue forgives everything. When everything is up and to the right, the board keeps you around, your employees are happy because the snacks are good. But at some point, you're not gonna hit what you think you're gonna hit, and you have to be ready for that. So what I learned is that scaling isn't just growth, it's rebuilding the same company over and over and over again. Thank you. I'll be at Pine Shed later tonight if you want to talk more.
Wow. I feel like we should bring Amy back up and you guys could do like a rapid fire, like, what would you do? Yeah, that was remarkable. Thank you. You shared a lot in a short amount of time. Okay, questions for Scott right off the bat. I feel like that, yes. love this question. Let me just repeat it for you. So she's saying, starting a business 10 to 20 years ago versus starting a business today, would you now say, like, have your team set up, have your legal, have your, how was it? I mean, it's obviously a very different landscape. Yeah.
So there's good and bad with this. Everybody is fearful about AI replacing everybody's jobs. But what I'm excited about is the ability for it to create small businesses. So I'm working on a little project that it's not a $1 billion idea. And so because it's not a $1 billion idea, I'm never going to get VC funding. It might not even be a $1 million idea. It's just an idea. But because of AI, I can take that idea and make it real. And if it creates a job, that's awesome. And so, no, you don't need huge teams that requires VC investment of hundreds or millions of dollars to make it real. You can really use AI to short circuit some things. At some point, you still need the humans in the room, but you can take an idea to reality so fast today, and it's incredible.
I love that. Okay, other questions for, yes.
So marketplaces are notoriously really hard to get started. And so like you guys did what a pretty good on the supply side, cleaning toilets and stuff. I guess are there other stories about that, like how you got it?
Yeah, I love this question.
So I'm curious on the AI thing, like you see a different calculus now for platform or for marketplaces.
Okay, so this is a marketplace-specific question. They're notoriously difficult to get off the ground. He's wondering if you have any additional anecdotes that you want to share, and then also, how's the landscape for marketplace businesses based on the fact that we have access to AI now? Did I do? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so a lot of marketplaces fail because they go too thin too far. And so a good example of that was a company out of Seattle called tripping.com. They raised $18 million. These are ballpark numbers. I make up a lot of numbers. And then they went bankrupt 9 months later. How do you burn $18 million? They tried to go national with $18 million. And this is like a drop. That's not even a drop in the bucket. That's like a couple of atoms in a bucket to get big enough. With marketplaces, you have to find your niche and make it big enough that it's self-sustaining. And then you have to figure out what's tangential to that you have some inroads to. And then you build that one to be self-sustaining, and it opens up. So with Vacasa, we started in Oregon, out of Portland, on the Oregon coast. And so you take Portlanders, they go to Oregon coast. Well, where else do Portlanders go? We've got them. They go to Central Oregon. They go to Lake Tahoe. And we called it the hub and the spoke. And so that spoke to Tahoe. All the other spokes that go in the Tahoe are the Bay Area. So the Bay Area became a hub. And so it's finding where you can take people, figure out what their spokes are. For eBay, I think it was like car parts. Like they figured out a niche that they were able to make self-sustaining. And then how do you bring them in? The other big part of marketplace is one of the reasons that we really felt we needed to go big and why Airbnb, Vrbo, HomeAway, all of those went big is ubiquity. And why Amazon is successful is ubiquity. If you need something, you know they have it, and you know how they're going to get it to you. And there's that trust in it. So trust is incredible. Trust in delivery of what you say you're going to give, and then getting to ubiquitous. And then I forget what your second part was.
AI. Agents can help you like with the supply or the demand side now. Hundreds of agents out there on your sales team.
Where I am leveraged, so I'm building another marketplace, and one of the things that I'm leveraging AI for is to figure out what are the non-traditional marketing mechanisms that can get it out there. Is it on Reddit? Are there these communities I need to tap into that I'm unaware of? So it's really helpful in finding things you just don't know, to find new opportunities and thought partnership in those ways. Always got to check that those Facebook groups really exist, but it's definitely getting better.
Yeah, cool. Okay, other questions for Scott? Yes. Oh, Okay, so she said there was the big buildup, and then you left, and then it all crashed, and she was wondering if you could come back to that.
No, I got this. So there's a concept called correlation versus causation. So it's either correlated to when I left or it was causated by when I left. But there's some Vacasa people in the room, and a lot of the stories, if if you did not follow Vacasa over the last 6 years while you cried in your bed, the you can always blame leadership. You can always there's always something to blame. Was it the technology? Was it the tension between being a tech company versus a hospitality and human company? And there's all different things, ways you can splice it. But again, I was not there, and like an outside exec, I don't know what decisions were made with what resources and what ideas were in the room. So I'm not gonna prejudge what happened.
But it was not you. And that's what we want you to take home tonight. Yes. How's your relationship with your brother?
Our quarterly phone call's coming up. Anybody who knows my brother and the other founder, co-founder of Vacasa, Eric is very quantitative, brilliant, but quantitative. Spreadsheets are his lifeblood. And then Cliff, his lifeblood was heart and passion and ethics. And my brother, incredibly ethical, but there was always that tension. And so I was the third wheel that always got to help keep that balance between the human and the math. And sometimes that tension, a lot of laughing, a lot of crying, a lot of yelling, I'm one of 4 boys. And so the loudest and most repetitive argument was the correct argument.
Yeah. Well, are all 3 of you brothers? Forgive me, I didn't know. Are these 3 out of 4 of you started?
So 3 of us worked at Vacasa.
Okay.
One of our wives still does. And the 4th brother was our tax accountant. And he fired us Vacasa was his largest client, and he fired us because we were too much to handle.
God, this is it gets better and better. It really does. Wow. Okay, I think we have one more question for Scott. Yes, right here.
So on that front with like the relationships of founder dynamics and that sort of thing, I'd be so curious to hear you speak to, like if you could speak to founders in the room who are building companies, what you wish you knew back then.
Yes.
Relationship dynamics, communication, what things to put in place that are
This is
but on the emotional, psychological side, like what would you have to say?
This is a great question. So she's saying, after having this experience, she's wondering, what do you wish you had had in place from a social and relational standpoint? What do you wish you had had communication? What do you wish you'd had in place? And what would you put in place if you were to do something like this again, moving forward with respect to maintaining relationships?
Mission, vision, and values. A lot of what you saw in that Metolius presentation.
I was going to say, should we bring Amy back up? Yeah. This was absolutely a delight. You were so generous with us. You shared so much, and I enjoyed it. I had no idea the drama behind this. This could be a TV show, Scott.
Well, Silicon Valley and Succession. Those are the 2.
But Vacasa, the real behind the scenes. I mean, I think we could really. There's some drama. Well, hey, this was amazing. Thank you. We really appreciate you. How about another round of applause for Scott Breon? Is anybody like, I'm going to book a Vacasa tonight just to see what happens? I mean, what would happen? I want to know. Okay, again, tonight is just not possible without community partnerships. BBSI, Barrett Business Services, partners with Central Oregon businesses to simplify HR, payroll, and risk management and provide business strategy. We handle the business of employment so you can focus on growth. Proudly supporting EDCO to build a stronger local economy. Let's scale your vision. What an incredible evening. So please mark your calendars for our 2026 events. You don't want to miss the Ready Annual Luncheon at the Deschutes County Fair and Expo Center. That is on April 8th. Tickets are available now. Our April PubTalk will be at Open Space again, so mark your calendar for April 23rd. Our Sunriver Lapine Economic Development Annual Luncheon at Sunriver Resort will take place on April 30th. Tickets are also now available. The Made in Bend Tour is coming up. Save the date, May 14th. Tickets will be available available soon. More information on these events can be found at edcoinfo.com/events. Special thanks again to Open Space and Hand in Hand Productions for making it happen. Okay, you always ask me when I have comedy shows, and I have one coming up at the Tower Theater on May 16th. Me and Helen Keeney. Tickets are on sale. Would love to see you there. But other than that, this has been a pleasure. Time and time again, EDCO audiences are the absolute best. You guys are amazing. So thanks for being here, and we'll see you in April.